So I see a lot of outdated KDP strategies still being taught. Advices such as pumping out as many low-quality AI written books as possible, creating a bunch of journals that you whipped up on Canva while you're reusing the interiors and you're just switching out the book covers, getting fake reviews, or using titles that may mislead customers. Not only do these strategies not work, it can also lead to your account being banned. So in this video, I'm going to share with you 5 KDP strategies that actually works to double your sales. If you're new to the channel, my name is Sean. I've been self-publishing for over 9 years. I've made over $1.7 million in royalties from my own books, and I've helped a lot of people make money with this business model. So if you want no BS advice from someone who is actually doing it, then this channel is for you. So with that being said, let's get right into the first strategy, which is to adopt a flexible marketing approach. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, the cool thing about publishing is that you don't have to spend money for marketing, right? There are free ways and paid ways of doing this. No matter what your budget is, no matter what your time availability is, there's always a way to market your book. So if you don't have money, then you can do short form videos, create short form videos, essentially social media marketing to promote your books for free. Now, if you do have money, then paid ads, such as running Amazon ads, is very, very effective as well. What I always say is that if you want to save money, do social media marketing. If you want to save time, then do Amazon ads, because paid ads requires less time than social media marketing. So it's your choice. Do you want to pay with time? Do you want to pay with money? Up to you. You will have to pay either way, but you can choose. Now, when I say social media marketing, I'm not talking about dancing in front of your camera like a lot of TikTok videos that you see, right? It's essentially just creating videos showcasing your book. That's the video that is the easiest to create while it's the most effective. And also it gets a lot of views, surprisingly, right? So these are some examples. This is in the coloring book niche. Hikaru Kotz is a brand that's killing it right now in coloring books. And you can see that he never shows his face. And I'm saying he, while I'm not even sure if it's a man or a woman, or maybe it's a team behind this brand, I don't know. But all they're doing here is they are showcasing their own coloring pages while they're coloring it out, right? That's the type of videos that works really well in the coloring book space. And this is for TikTok, but you can also repurpose the same videos, upload it to YouTube, Instagram, and just spread it out like that. This is their books on Amazon. And by using a tool like KD Spy, just from the first 20 books, you can see that they have close to $200,000 in monthly revenue, which is crazy, right? There's a lot of coloring books that are selling extremely well. Now, yes, they do have great ideas. Ideas is a huge part of coloring books, right? They have high quality interiors. They're probably running ads too, but a lot of sales are coming from social media marketing. This is another example more in the medium content space. This is not coloring books. They create books for kids, like joke books, hilarious jokes for 8-year-olds, 11-year-olds, 12 years old, hilarious jokes, would you rather questions, those kind of books. And the type of videos they make is actually something anyone can copy, right? So if you go to their TikTok page, you can see that these videos are getting millions of views, and even the average ones are 10-20,000 views, which is pretty damn good, right? And this is a video structure. We call these the carousel videos because it's just a slideshow, essentially. So we have 7 knock-knock jokes that will make 7-year-olds laugh. And obviously, because they have books on hilarious jokes for 7-year-olds, it makes sense to make these kind of content. But essentially, this is a mid-journey, I don't know if it's mid-journey, but AI-generated picture with a text over it. And they just have jokes like these, one after another. Goes viral, sells the book. And I think this is one of those video types that are extremely easy for anyone to come in and make. And on the last slide, he sells the book, right? Discover more laughs with our hilarious jokes for kids series. And it works well. Just from the first 20 books, they're doing $47,000 a month in revenue just from the paperback, not counting the Kindle or audiobook. Now, those were medium content book examples. So let me show you a high content book example here. So we have this emotional intelligence book, right? One of the most competitive high content keyword out there. And this one book is making $267 to $383 a day. I use a tool called BookMeme that tells me the estimate royalties per day. So if you guys want to check out BookMeme, the link is in the description. So let's just take the middle, which is $300 a day. This one book is doing $9,000 a month just from the paperback, not even counting the audiobook, Kindle, hardcover. So this one book is doing over 10K per month. And these are the kind of videos that they are making, which is extremely simple. All they're doing is showing the book while they are reading it. It's a 10-second clip. They're not even talking, nothing. They just have a text over it. And this video got 1 million views. And because it worked so well, they are repeating it over and over and over, right? We have this video here, same structure, just different angle. This video right here, pretty much the same angle over here, another different angle. And it's the same thing. You're just holding your book, filming yourself 10 seconds, and you put a text over it. And I can almost guarantee they filmed all of this in one day because he's wearing the same shirt. So he basically filmed one video, move the camera a little bit, film another video, move a camera a little bit, and it just keeps going. And it works. Super simple videos, right? This is another one without showing your face. Just show the book cover, put it on a table with a text over here, and then show the interior. And it sells extremely well. So you can apply this for high content too. So why do short form videos like these work? Well, first of all, short form videos in general is just blowing up social media. It's kind of like taking over social media, not just on TikTok, but also Instagram, YouTube. People's attention span is getting trained to be worse and worse. People cannot sit through and watch a 10-15 minute video like this anymore. So my views are going down, but short form videos are going up, right? So it's like really trending up. Now, another reason is because you kind of let your buyers preview your book, which is huge. You can show how the book looks like before people even buy. Oftentimes people want to buy it because they get a teaser. And once again, it's free and very, very easy to make based on the examples that I showed you. I hope you see that. And this obviously boosts sales. A lot of people watch a TikTok video, look up the book on Amazon, and they buy from there. That's why you see the boost in sales on Amazon. Now, social media marketing is great. If you can combine it with Amazon ads, that's excellent as well. So Amazon ads is another way. If you don't have time to make these videos, then you can just turn on ads and boost sales that way too. Amazon ads is also great if you want to validate the demand in your niche, right? If you're not sure if your book is going to sell or not before you go social media marketing, you can just, test it out on Amazon ads and see if it sells. If it sells, you can increase how much you spend on ads, but also do social media marketing and try to scale it that way too. So ads doesn't have to be expensive. You can spend as low as $3 per day just to test it out. If you guys want a step-by-step tutorial, I have this video that I filmed. I'll just link it in the description. So just to summarize everything, the big thing people have to remember is that you are paying with time or money, but you're paying either way. A lot of people complain in the YouTube comments saying, oh, you have to spend thousands of dollars on ads to succeed with publishing. And that is not the case. However, if you want to save the money and you don't want to run ads, then you better be ready to spend time, a lot of time, hours and hours, making videos on social media marketing. Okay? You have to invest something to be successful in a business. Doesn't matter if you're doing self-publishing, doesn't matter if you're doing any other business. If you don't want to invest time and if you don't want to invest money, you are being delusional. You are not going to succeed in whatever you do. So you have to be willing to invest something. But the great news is you can choose. If you don't have the money, you do social media marketing, right? If you don't have the time, you run ads. But whatever you do, you have to market your product. It is literally the fundamental concept of business, okay? If you don't market your product, you're not going to make money. All right, strategy number 2 that actually works is focusing on quality, not quantity. And I know that a lot of people heard this advice, but not a lot of people actually gets it, okay? So let me reiterate why quality matters more than ever now. So the old strategy with Amazon KDP was that we published as many books as possible, a lot of books, right? And hope that each one makes a little bit of money. That was the whole strategy. But it led to a lot of people spamming low quality crap. Amazon didn't like it, and they made a lot of changes to make it harder to publish a lot of books, which actually turned out to be a good thing for us because for us competing with a lot of people who just spamming low quality stuff, that sucked for us as well. So the new Amazon KDP strategy is that you just want to focus on a few high quality books and you make a lot. And when I say a lot, I'm talking like a lot. Okay, like before we thought it was just a couple $1,000s per book was like the potential. Now I'm talking about literally 10,000, 100,000. Like people are doing that from just one book, which is honestly insane. So the way KDP works right now is that Amazon's algorithm favors quality and engagement, right? So low quality books means it's going to lead to bad reviews, obviously. Bad reviews, Amazon's going to see that and they're like, oh, let's not show this to people anymore. It doesn't matter if the book is, has a bunch of keywords. It doesn't matter if you're running a ton of ads. If the book is not good and if it's getting bad reviews and engagement, they're just going to drop it. And compared to that, high quality books that actually gets high read through, like people are actually reading to the end, they're actually leaving good reviews. Those are the ones that's going to get pushed in the algorithm. Of course, it sells very well as well. So clearly we want to work towards that. And that's why I say you're really just one book away, right? So even if you have failed with publishing so far, maybe the next book is the one that is going to blow up for you. Maybe that's your home run book. And once you have one book that does very well, you can build an entire brand around it. So you will still have to publish a couple books, or you can really just heavily focus on marketing that one book and make a lot of money. Like as an example here, right? So we have this book, Stop Overthinking. Now, if you look at the pen name, Nick Trenton, he has been publishing like one book a month. Like every single month, he has a new book out. Whether that is a good approach or not, that's not really the point. The point is that he kept trying. And each of these books might have made something, but not a lot. But then when he published this one book, it just took off. And I'm pretty sure it didn't take off for a while after he published. So it took a while, but it just took off eventually. And now this one book makes $400 to $600 a day. So let's just say $500 a day. So that is $15,000 just from this one book. And since this is a high content book, you can do audiobooks, and he's doing another $100 a day. So that's another $3,000 a month, right? So this one book is doing like $20,000 if you count the Kindle, spiral bound, other stuff, which I'd say is pretty amazing. And it's been very, very steady for him. So that's why I say all you need is one home run book, which is not going to happen if you don't have a high quality book. If that book was not good, it's going to get bad reviews. Sales will plummet. But because it's a good book, it keeps selling and selling, gets more reviews. More reviews means more sales. More sales means more reviews, right? More positive reviews. And it just keeps going and going and going. So that's what we want here. So in terms of what makes a book high quality, like, I keep saying to create a high quality book. And if you're wondering, what does it actually mean to have a high quality book? Well, number one thing, when you're doing nonfiction books or even, children's book, coloring books, those kind of things, you have to understand that people are buying books to solve a problem, especially with nonfiction books, right? Like if you buy a Stop Overthinking book, you are clearly struggling with overthinking. So your book has to solve that. And that is your job, in creating the outline, actually writing the book to make sure that you're solving those points, right? So that's the biggest thing with nonfiction is that understanding. Now, next thing is it's professionally designed. Both the interior and the book cover looks professional. You're not just whipping up something on Canva where you're not a designer. People expect and want a high quality book. Obviously, you want to match that expectation. Now, high demand keywords is a big one. Like if no one's looking for your book, it's not going to be a home run book, because no matter how good the book is, if there's no demand of that topic, then it's not going to sell. So stop overthinking. Huge demand. Almost every single person in the whole world suffers from overthinking, right? So solving a big problem will get you big results. And oftentimes it's better to go after a big niche and try to hit it hard there than try to avoid competition and go into a super small niche that is not even profitable. And obviously you want engaging content from start to finish. All right, strategy number 3, repeat buyers are the secret to success. Not a lot of people understand this concept. Now, if you can understand this concept, this will take your business to the next level. Repeat customers are the holy grail of business. Why is that? Because once people buy from you, it's easier to sell to them than someone brand new. When someone buys from you once, it's easier to sell them another product and another product, another book, right? So this leads to the next thing, which is you can build a series of books, right? So this is big in fiction as well. But oftentimes the whole goal with fiction is getting people hooked in your series on book number 1 and have them read through the entire catalog, the backlog of books. And that's where you're profiting in the back end. So you can do the same thing with pretty much any niche, nonfiction, coloring book, doesn't matter. You want to create a high quality product, get people hooked and have them buy all your other books, leading to making a lot more money than if you just offered one product and if they only buy once from you. So this increases what we call customer lifetime value. And this is a huge concept. You want to increase your lifetime value as much as possible. So a good example for lifetime value is, let's say you go to a local cafe. They only have a couple options for coffee, couple options for pastry, and that is it. They don't have a ton of products that they're offering. So even if you want to spend money with them, even if you want to try all the coffee, all the pastries, you will do that pretty quick, right? You would try all the items pretty quickly because they don't have a lot of selections. So even if you want to give them a lot of money by buying all the products, it's not going to be a lot of money just because of the limited selection. Compared to that, if you go to Starbucks, you have so many different selections. You can try a bunch of different coffees. They're always coming up with new recipes, new seasonal recipes, this and that, to get people to come back and try the new recipes, obviously. The pastries, same thing. And on top of that, they are creating an environment where you want to come back and you want to just hang out at the coffee shop, right? And, spend time and then keep ordering. So the lifetime value of the one person who comes back very often is very, very high. It's not just $3, $5 for a coffee. It can be thousands of dollars if they keep coming back and keep buying from you. So you can essentially do the same thing with your books. You can offer them different things so that customers can keep coming back and buying from you. So the easiest way to do this is offer more books. So earlier I said you don't need a ton of books, but obviously once you have a home run book, right? Once you have a niche that's working, then you want to expand into different products. It's just a smart thing to do. But on top of offering more books, what you want to do is to be able to communicate with your customers, which means you want to start collecting their email addresses and build your email list. As an example, we have this book, The Power of Discipline, right? If you look inside the book, he has a page that is collecting people's emails, basically offering another free book in exchange for people's name and email here. So you have to subscribe to the email list to get this. Same as this book by Hayden Fox, right? If you look inside, it takes you to the website. Now on the website, he says, claim your free gift, collecting people's emails in exchange for some free gifts here. Now, once people join your email list, you can pretty much market them anything that you want, right? So you can sell them more of your books if you want to, or just like this example, Coloring Book Cafe, not only are they selling their other coloring books, but they actually have another product, which is their coloring book course. So they're offering their course, and this course is $67. So obviously they're making a lot more than their books, right? So if people do buy a course on this, the lifetime value of the customer can be like $100, $200, depending on how many other books they're buying. And it makes sense, right? You teach them how to color better, and so the customer wants to color more books. Obviously they're going to come back and buy your books. So I think it's pretty synergistic. It's pretty smart. But this is what I mean is essentially you collect people's emails, right? So you can offer more products, increase lifetime value. This is something that I teach in my programs, building an email list. And also there's a lot of cool things that you can do with your email list to, get reviews, get more sales, and do a lot more than this. Now, when you're creating a series of books, even if you're just offering your book as a free lead magnet to get people into your email list, you got to understand that people do judge a book by its cover. You could have the most amazing book, but if your cover is unattractive, then not a lot of people want to give you their email to even subscribe and get the book. Which brings us to strategy number 4 is you got to have amazing cover. Amazing cover beats everything else. Okay, like literally everything else. Because if people see a cheap looking cover, then they will automatically assume that it's a low quality book. It doesn't matter what's inside. It's a low quality book in people's mind. If you have an AI generated cover, now people are getting really good at detecting if it's AI or not, then they will just assume that the inside is AI generated content too. So if you have an AI generated cover and people understand that it's AI generated, they're just going to be like, oh, the book is probably written by AI too, even if it's not. So I get a lot of people asking me why their books are not selling, and then they send me their books and they show me these types of book covers. And I get that if you're just getting started with publishing, maybe you don't have the understanding of, what cover looks good and what cover looks bad. But I hope that you at least can tell that these covers are not good. And the way you learn what covers are good or bad is simply by looking at, what's selling on Amazon. You really have to spend a lot of time on Amazon just browsing through, comparing books that are not selling and comparing books that are bestsellers, and seeing what's the difference in the book cover. And doing that over time, you're eventually going to develop an eye for designs that sells, or at least what the bestsellers are using. So clearly, these book covers are not going to sell, as I hope you can tell. Now, compared to that, these are good book cover examples. Typically, these are the elements that makes a good book cover. Number 1, the title fonts are very easy to read, and it's clear, it's big, it pops, right? You can see that the power of discipline, it pops. It takes up almost half of the book cover. Same as this one over here. It takes up a good chunk of the book cover. The color contrast is good. Same as this one over here. Easy to read. The subtitle doesn't have to be big, but the main title should be big and legible. Now, the next one is the color contrast. You want to consider the text color and then the background color and make sure it contrasts very well. Make sure that the title text, once again, is easy to read. Okay, a lot of times people use these types of color combinations and the text is very hard to read and it doesn't work. And the third element is just having some sort of design that represents a topic, right? So this is a gratitude journal, having a sun kind of makes sense, I guess. We have a food and drink, coloring book. So obviously having food and drink images makes sense. And then the power of discipline. This is a self-discipline book. There's no image that represents it. That is fine because for self-help books, a text-based cover works really well. So the bottom line is for book covers, this is a very, very, very important factor on why a customer should check out your book, right, and buy your book. So your book cover should show what the book is all about. You want to hire a professional to design your book cover if you're not a designer. Unless you're a designer, you should really not be trying to create a book cover yourself. I understand that you want to try to cut costs, right? You want to save some money because maybe you're low on budget or maybe you're scared of losing money. And if that's the case, just understand that you probably will not make a lot of money if you're just whipping up book covers on Canva and you're not even trying, you're not even learning design skills. And if you just want to make a couple bucks here and there, that's fine. But if you come in here and you want to make thousands of dollars a month, you probably should be okay with investing some money into your business. I'll leave a link in the description below for some recommendations on a book cover designer. These are still really, really budget option. Like it's very cheap for a book cover. This gig right here will design a book cover for $15. That's a really, really good price. Okay. And she specializes in low content books. So if you're doing low content books, give it a shot. The design is pretty good. And while it's still very cheap, I think it's still better than what a lot of people design on Canva themselves. The next option over here is Rebecca Covers. If you're doing fiction or nonfiction, any high content books, I do recommend a gig like this one. I've used her many, many times. I recommend you get it from the premium option. It's still only $30, which is nothing. Okay. And these are some samples that you can get, which once again, I think is pretty good. And I think it's better than what a lot of people design on Canva, at least based on what I'm seeing. Our strategy number 5 is you want to create social proof through reviews. So people spend a lot of time creating a very good book. Oftentimes people spend months, if not years, writing the book, spend a lot of money on book covers. So now, instead of people trying to cheap out, there are people out there spending a crap ton of time and money into producing an amazing quality book. And yet, after the book is live, they just upload it, do nothing, and they're like, why am I not making sales? It makes no sense, right? When it comes to business, you have two aspects. You have the product, and then you have the marketing. So you did an amazing job creating a super good product, but you just completely neglect marketing. And if you're doing this to make money, you cannot skip the marketing. In fact, the marketing is often more important than the product, okay? Although you should do both at a very high level. So you have to get reviews. Reviews are one of the biggest things when it comes to book marketing. It's the most powerful form of social proof, and it tells people that your book is good, okay? If it has good reviews, obviously people expect it to be good. So once your book is live, immediately you have to start trying to get reviews. Now, there are a couple ways to get reviews fairly quickly, fairly easily. You can create a system to consistently get reviews, which is what we do and what I teach in the programs. But there are ways to get reviews pretty passively. I'm going to show you some examples of here. This is not a passive way, but this is a free way. So if you want to get reviews completely free, all you have to do is to join different Facebook groups, right? Relevant to your book topic. So if your book topic is about anxiety, you can look up anxiety Facebook groups, join them. Then once you're in the group, you basically tell people, hey guys, I just wrote a book on this topic. I would love to give it out for free. All I ask in exchange is you consider leaving an honest review after you read it. You'll have a lot of people saying, I'll take a free book, right? Give me the free book. And so you will basically send them the PDF. So you don't have to give them a physical copy. You just send them a PDF and then you follow up 2 weeks later. When you follow up, you send them your Amazon link and then they can leave a review there. That's the whole process. Now that process is completely free, but it's a lot of work, right? It takes time. And that's why I say you're always paying with time and money. If you're trying to save money, you're going to be spending a lot of time. And that's one way. Now, if you want to save some time, then using a site like Book Bounty is going to be one of the fastest ways to get reviews. So I'll leave a link to Book Bounty below in the description, but basically you can just read the website, see how it works, but it's a membership site. So you have to pay a little bit. It's like $25 a month. And essentially it's an Amazon compliant way to get reviews for your book. So once again, the website kind of explains everything. I have some videos on it, so I'm not going to explain too much, but you can go and check it out in the description below. So a couple things to consider here is that you want to aim to get reviews right after you publish your book. You preferably do not want any delays. Now, if you do have delays, no problem. You can always come back from it. But if you can choose, right, if you can control this, you want to launch your book right after it's published and get as many reviews and sales immediately once it's live. Aim to get 10 to 15 reviews a launch. Work your way up to getting 50, 100 reviews. Once you get to 100 reviews, you should be making a good amount of organic sales too, right? And from those organic sales, you're going to get more reviews organically. So I wouldn't say you want to manually get 1,000 reviews, but you definitely will get the snowball effect kicking in here. And once you get to 1,000 reviews, I'm sure you're going to have a book that's going to pay you for a very, very long time. Personally, I have multiple books with over 1,000 reviews, and those books often are the most passive thing ever. Like it sells organically consistently for literally years, and it's like making the same amount for years, which is crazy, and I'm not even doing anything. So that's why I say the beginning is always the hardest, but once you get things going, it gets more and more passive in this business. So another big tip with getting reviews is you want to create review opportunities everywhere. So I used to do sales, and in sales, we always talk about this concept of follow-ups, right? So there are quotes out there. People say that 2% of sales are made on the first contact, 3% of sales are made on the second contact, 5% of sales are made on the third contact, 10% of sales are made on the fourth contact, and 80% of sales are made on the fifth to 12th contact. And that's why in sales, we always say that money is in the follow-up. We have to follow up with the customer for more than 5 times to get a sale. Now, just replace the sale to reviews. So what this tells us is that we have to ask people to leave a review for our books for more than 5 times to get 80% plus of the people to actually do it. Most people will not leave a review for you if you just ask for it once. That's exactly why I say please like and subscribe on my videos every single time, because if I just say it once, no one's gonna do it, right? So I have to ask over and over and over for the past 600 videos or so. So make sure you guys like and subscribe if you like this video. But anyways, in Amazon KDP, right, every sale is a potential for review. Because once people buy your book, now if you follow this video, you have an opportunity to get them into your email list, right? We talked about building an email list. Hopefully you have a link inside your book where people can subscribe to your email list. And because you have the email list available, we can do some very cool strategies to get reviews from there. So we basically want to ask for reviews many times. Okay, how do we do this? Well, we create multiple touch points inside the book and also inside the email. So this is an example of how we do it inside our program, just as a preview, right? So this is how we do it. So first, in the book, we ask for a review straight up. So in the main book that we're selling on Amazon, at the beginning of the book, we can say, hey, if you go and read this book and if you enjoy it, then please consider leaving a review. It really helps us out, right? That's like a short script. Now, at the end of the book, right, the back of the book, we can ask it again. So, hey, thank you so much for reading. If you enjoyed it, please let me know. Please leave a review, right? So that's the second time we ask. Now, the moment they join the email list, you can create a system where in the funnel, you can ask them, hey, thank you so much for joining my email list. If you enjoyed the book, please leave a review. We actually have a kind of a different hack that we do, but I'll reserve that for the program, okay? Because I don't want to reveal their secret too much. Now, the fourth time we ask could be like a week later. We basically send them an email to remind them to leave a review, and this is all automated if you have an email list, right? Ask number 5 can be another email a week later using a new angle. And from there, from ask 6 and so on, you just keep sending them new emails over and over and over because you have them in your email list. You can pretty much send them emails anytime you want. So that's how you can keep asking and asking and asking until they actually leave a review. And there is a way to make this completely automated, right? So this follow-up process is happening automatically. And that is how we have a pretty high rate of getting reviews. That's how our students are getting, 100+ reviews for their book pretty consistently if they do take action. I'm not saying every single student gets that for every single book, right? There's no way I can guarantee that. There's no way that's happening because unfortunately there are students who do not take action, but for those who do, oftentimes they're seeing this kind of results. So to recap, email marketing is a very powerful method to get consistent reviews, especially once you're automated. Now you can use AI tools like ChatGPT to write up these emails. So it's super quick and there are a lot of cool strategies that you can take. All right, guys, so that's the end of the video. Hope you enjoyed it. This was a super long video. It took like an hour to film. I don't know how long the final video will turn out to be. So hopefully you found it to be valuable. Now, if you want to work with us, we do have a coaching program. It's called Road to Hero, and it's the first link in the description. It takes you to a page like this. You can apply for a free strategy call. It is a call to see if it's a good fit for you, right? So we will offer you the option if we think is a good fit. If not, we'll tell you, no, it's not a good fit. So it is a very low pressure call. I'm not going to say that you have to get our program to succeed. We have a lot of successful students. I think a program will shortcut your process significantly. But if you want to try and figure it out yourself on YouTube, no problem, right? That's why I'm here too. So either way, I hope that this video was helpful. I hope it helps you in your publishing journey. I hope you're crushing it out there. With that being said, leave a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.